share the same with me in the WhatsApp. Let me see what it is, whether it is correct or not.
What you want the script?
Yes, share it with me on the group.
Okay.
In the sense, the WhatsApp group.
Okay. Can I show quickly, like, how I have created?
You will not have that rights. You do one thing. You share it with me on WhatsApp. I'll just let you know.
Okay.
I know what is missing. Just check if yum update -y is there or not. If it is not there, then probably it is for
yeah. It is also there. It is also.
Okay, then share that script with me. Let's see.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome all. We are good to start for today. One more question which I received in the previous section was that I am not able to, hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. So there were few instances where you asked me that I'm not able to delete the instance which I have. So what should I do? So I will just let you know, just give me some time.
For the security group as well.
Yeah, sir. For the security group I'm talking about. So let me go to my North Virginia region. Now, let me come to EC2. Security group. Oh, let me come to Mumbai. Okay, so let me say I have a security group here. Okay, I want to delete it. So I'll go to actions. I'll try to delete this. I'm getting an error here. It says will not be deleted once security group is associated. So if you get any such errors, read the error and try to understand which security group is associated. Okay, so go here. Here it is saying instance SG1 is associated. So first you need to delete this one and then you can delete the other one. So let me come here and delete the security group. And this is saying it is associated to EFS SG1. So basically they are both interrelated. So what you need to do is you have to come to the inbound section. And here you have to delete this rule. This is the rule. So edit inbound. Go ahead and delete the rule first. Then go back to this instance. EFS SG1. Now let's try deleting it. Still sees the same thing. Wait a second. This is instance SG1. So let me go inside this. Here, I don't see anything here. Why is it? Okay. This is what I'm looking at. Here, none of the rules are associated. Go to action, delete security group. Now you're able to delete this one. Once that is deleted, you can go here and delete the second one. So you have to read the error which you are getting, and accordingly, you have to go ahead and make the changes. And once you make the changes, you will be able to delete those items. Okay. Now, moving ahead. So what we did is we spoke about the traditional servers which we have. Then we spoke about our cloud virtual machines or EC2 instances. And today we will be talking about serverless components like Lambda. Now, first thing is, what is what? So when I talk about serverless traditional servers, I used to have my own data center. I used to spend money to buy this infrastructure, and then I used to pay the cost for data center, like the operational and capital cost, means OPEX and CAPEX. Then once all is done, again, if I have to go ahead and do something, I again used to buy another set of servers and manage the traffic and everything from scratch. And a lot of money was wasted because of this effort. So what I saw is that this is not the right way to work. So I migrated to cloud. Now here I don't have to buy a data center. I can provision my EC2 instances on demand. But the problem is each EC2 instance comes with a certain memory and power. Now let me say I'm using M4 large. Now let me say M4 large comes with 16 GB RAM, but I need 18 GB RAM. So I will take one more M4 large. Now 16 into 2, the total capacity which I'm getting is 32 GB, but I need only 18 GB. The simple meaning is that I am not able to utilize everything as per my requirement. So I get a standard or I get a prescribed instance type, and I have to go with that only. Suppose I'm using T2 micro. T2 micro comes with 1 GB RAM. Let me say I need only 300 MB of RAM. So I don't have anything which provides me 300 MB. Rather, the bare minimum which I get is 1 GB, which is T2 micro. So like that, I get everything, but in a fixed processing power and memory. Sometimes the traffic is less and the EC2 capacity is more. Sometimes when the capacity reaches, it scales, but I don't need that much scaling power. I need only 1 GB, but even for that, it is scaling to 16 GB. So undoubtedly, this setup is better than my traditional data centers, but still it is not as good as what I would have wanted. So here, cloud is saying you pay as you go, means whatever you are using, you pay for that. Because you are paying for something which you are not using, the customer started complaining. You told pay as you go. Now you are asking me to pay for something which I don't even use it. And that is your problem. You are providing me 16 GB RAM. I don't need 16 GB. So Amazon came up with something called serverless. Now, when I talk about serverless, the simple meaning is that there will be servers, but you are not the one who is provisioning them and managing them. This will be completely managed by Amazon. It will be on-demand service. You need, and then and there you will get those services, and completely that will be managed by AWS. So you don't have to own a data center. You provision one Lambda function and you run your code, and in the background, the infrastructure part will automatically be taken care by AWS. If the more traffic hits, auto scaling will also automatically happen. You don't have to go and do anything. You pay for the number of executors rather than paying for the idle resources. And it is best for cost optimization because most of the times you only pay for the components which you use. One such serverless component is Lambda. Now to start with Lambda, let me go ahead and see how Lambda operates, how Lambda works. So I'll go to my Lambda. I will just type here Lambda. Now see one thing, that Lambda is a regional service. So when I say it's a regional service, I am saying that if you create a Lambda, it will be specific to that region alone. So if I create it in Mumbai, you can see it in Mumbai only. See here. Now, what will happen here is, as of now, if you see, there is no functions to display. So I will go ahead and create a function. So this is known as Lambda function. So I'm going to create a Lambda function. Now, when I create a Lambda function, I have various varieties, but out of these things, you generally use author from scratch. Author from scratch in the sense, I would like to write the code, everything I would like to write from the scratch. But when you say I want to write, you need to know a programming language. There are a wide varieties of programming languages which can be used, like .NET, Golang, Java, Python, Ruby. You should know either one of them to get your work done. Java, Node.js, Python can be used. But to make things easy for me, most of the code which we work with is written with Python. Python is very easy to use. It's a very English type language. where you can write the code and you can get your work done. 99% of the code which you will work with will be present over the internet. You just need to find it, you will get it easily. Then you come here and say function name, give any name. Just come here and say my first function. My first function. And you can say, I'm going to use Python 3.9. In the permission, you have to come here and you have to come and say that I will want you to create a new role with Lambda basic permissions. So basic permissions of executing a program is what I want you to give. And you can get started with this role. If you don't have this role, it will fail. So let's have a role. Advanced setting, I'm not talking about right now. I'll simply go and say, create a function for me. Once this function is automatically created, I will see few things here. Let the function get created. Now, once the function is created, you will see a console like this, the function overview. But as of now, I am interested here in this place. Code, and here is the code. Now, this is a Lambda code. To be very precise, it is Lambda 3.9. The syntax is written as per this. Now, if you see here, the code name is lambda underscore function.py. Okay, we can see here also lambda function.py. And if you see here, they are trying to import a function, import JSON. Similarly, there are many libraries. You will have to import one of them or multiple of them. So I say import one library. Then I'm defining a function called as Lambda handler. And this has two parameters, event and context. So event means an activity and context is the reaction to that. So this Lambda function will be called, and at the end, there will be two things which will be returned. One, status code as 200, and the other will be hello from Lambda. This message will get printed. Okay, so this is a very simple, very small Python code where I'm using one import function and one Lambda handler. That's it. When I go all the way down here, I can see that other things are there, but I'll come to that. Now, one thing which you will see here is whenever you change something here, this deploy thing will become enabled. See here, this deploy thing is enabled. It says changes are made, but not deployed. So you can go here and deploy the changes. So deploy means update the changes. Once the changes are updated, you can come here and create a test event to test this code. So let me come here and say configure test event. You can leave everything. Just event name is what you need to give. Test event. Okay, go all the way down here and say save. Now you can click on this test and you can test your code. Click on this and you see here you are getting the response. So test event ran, you got the response as 200 and you also get the message hello from Lambda and then exclamation mark. The most important thing which you need to see here is that this code ran for 1.11 milliseconds and you were billed for 2 milliseconds. This code used a size of 35 MB and you are billed only for 35 MB. So the best thing about Lambda is that first, it is serverless. You do not have to provision anything. Second, that it is easy to use. Just go ahead and say which programming language you want and run the code. It will charge you or it will ask for only the amount which you have or time duration for which you have run your code. If you have run your code for a long duration, obviously it will go ahead and ask for details. If not, then no, it will not ask for those details. Okay, now come all the way down here. There are two things which you should see further. There are two limitations to this Lambda. Lambda is good for everything. Okay, Lambda is good for everything, but there are two limitations. If you come to configuration section, you will see that if you go to this configuration and general configuration, you will see that maximum a job which you can run on Lambda can be 15 minutes. So any job which will run more than 15 minutes, you cannot put it on Lambda. That is point number one. Point number two is the code which you are uploading here or you're writing here cannot be more than 10 GB. If you think like this, 10 GB is good amount of storage, but still any code which is more than 10 GB is not supported here. So maximum the size can be 10240 MB or 10 GB, and anything greater than 10 GB will not be supported. So these are two limitations. So always we use Lambda for background activities like taking a backup, starting the servers, stopping the servers. You can use Lambda for front-end activities also, but then there is a time limit that activity should finish within 15 minutes. If it does not finishes within 15 minutes, then you are in trouble. The job will fail with a timeout error. So when I say that there are many background activities which you can do, let me just go ahead and try one such background activity. Now, let me say there is a company's name is company X, and company X wants that every day in the morning, 2 instances should come up, and every day in the afternoon, let me say 5 p.m., they should automatically shut down. Okay. Again, in the morning, they should come back. Next day, they should shut down. Shut down in the sense stop. So this is my requirement. So what I will do is I will come here. Is there any limitation to number of requests? There is a limitation to number of requests. You can parallelly run 500 items here. So let me come back here. Sorry, 50 items. So full account concurrency functions. See here, at max, you can run 50 items together or 50 reserved items. So altogether, you can run 100 items together, not more than that. Okay, so these, if you add, then it will come to 100. Okay, so you can altogether run 100. And if you're not using it, it is always recommended that you go ahead and delete it. Even if you keep it, there is no problem. It will only charge you when it is getting executed. The rest of the time, it is in sleeping mode. So it will not cause any problem to you. But if you're not using it, it is always recommended that you delete it. Now, the thing which I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a Lambda function, which will start and stop my EC2 instances as per my demand. So I'll say Lambda to start and stop EC2 instances. I'll come here, I'll find Amazon documentation, which was updated on 1/13/2022, and I'll follow these steps one by one. For that, first thing what I will do is I will go to my EC2 dashboard. Here, I will create 2 instances because at the end I have to manage those instances. So let me just come here and say web server. I'm using Amazon Linux. I'm using instance type. Key value pair, I will use this guy. And I will say I'm going to use an existing security group. Then everything remains as it is. And I will say launch 2 instances for me. Oh, I launched only 1. So let me go ahead and launch one more. So I should have given it as 2, but no worries. Launch another instance. I will say it is DB server. Amazon Linux, 64-bit T2 micro. Okay, so I have 2 instances up and running. So this is one DB server. The other one is this one. So I'll take the instance ID of both the machines. Okay, so I just taken them. So let me just put it within braces like this. I'll use it. I'll show you how I'm using it. Okay. So these are the two instances which are in running mode right now. I'll come back to my Lambda. Now here I'm going to create a function, and this function I'm going to create as per this documentation. So how to start stop EC2 instances at a regular interval. So it is saying, first you go to IAM and create a policy for that, and then create a role. So for the policy, this is the permission which you need. So this is the JSON. Come here and take this JSON as it is. Okay, now I will go to IAM first and create a policy. So I taught you policy. I told you when you create a policy, basically you're telling what all permissions this guy should have. So let me create a custom policy. And as of now, if I come here, policies, create policies, and you can directly go to JSON and you can put this, whatever you have, go here and say next. Then you can come here and say review, and you can give a name to this. Just say LAM Lambda, put it like this, custom Lambda policy. Then you go ahead and say create a policy. So the policy has been created. You can see the policy has been created. Now I can create a role and attach this policy there. So I'll go here and say role. And in this role, I will go and say create role. Who's going to use it? So Lambda is going to use it. Next. Come here and say custom Lambda policy, and I can see my custom Lambda policy. And then if I go all the way down here, next role name, I can say custom Lambda role, and go all the way, create a role. Okay, so this custom Lambda role has been created. Now when I go to Lambda, again, I will author from scratch. I will start function, start EC2 function, give any name of your choice. Function. Whether you write, where will you be writing the code? So I will be using Python 3.9. In the permission section, go and change the default execution permission, make it existing permission, because existing, if you don't give this, it will give you a failure. So go ahead and say create a function. Now here, when you come to the code section, you will see as of now, this is the code, but I will get the code from here. So IAM role is done, Lambda function, author from scratch. So it says, okay, this is the stop one, go down. This is the start one. So you can take this particular code and put it here. Okay. So if you see import Boto3. So Boto3 is a library which we will be using. Then it says region is US West 1. For me, it is Mumbai. So Mumbai is AP South 1. So I will say AP South 1. Then these are the addresses. So I have already copied it. So let me just take this, or the instance ID. So let me remove these two. Okay, while making the changes, be very careful. Okay, then EC2 instance region name. So it will get the region name from here, and the instances it will get from here. So basically it is saying EC2 dot start the instance. So if it is already started, don't do anything. But if it is stopped, then you start the instance. So start the instance. Changes not deployed. I will deploy the changes. So whatever changes I have done, it will be deployed or saved. Okay, now you can see the changes has been deployed. Now you can create a test event to test it. So it will start the EC2 instances, but my EC2 instances are already started. So first I will stop them so that I can check that whether it is working or not. Let me come here. Let me stop both of them. Stop. Stop. So these are in stopping state. So once it is stopped, I will try to start them using Lambda function. Okay, come here. So this is ec2.start. Now, how will I start them? So you can come here and configure a test event. Configure a test event. Come here and say start ec2. And that's it. Leave everything as it is. Don't change anything. Come and save it. Now here, if you want, you can click on test and it will run. But first I should come here, stopping. So let me just refresh this. So you can come here and check these two instances are in stopped state. Now, if I come here, it will run. Let me try to execute this. It is trying to execute and the response is null. Null in the sense it is okay. And if I come here, it says started your instances, this and this. Okay, and it took 634 milliseconds and I was built for only 635 milliseconds. And then 128 GB memory, 128 MB memory was allocated, but only 75 MB was assigned. Okay, so I was built only for that duration and the status is succeeded. I can see here the max memory and time is allocated here. Then if I come back here and I do a refresh, both are in running state. Means my Lambda is working correctly. So this is what I tested, that my Lambda is working correctly. But the requirement says that this Lambda should automatically run. How will this Lambda automatically run? So if you come here, there is a trigger. So you can add a trigger. Based on that, the Lambda will automatically run. So you have to start the EC2 instance. When you have to start? Morning 9 o'clock. So what I will do is I will come here and say add trigger. In trigger, I will look for CloudWatch events. Okay, and I'll create a new rule. So CloudWatch events, create a new rule. Come here and give any rule name. It can be anything. Rule 22. Rule description. Start EC2 in morning 9. Okay. Then there is something called schedule expression. Now, what is a scheduled expression? So schedule expression is basically talking about a cron expression. What is cron? I don't know what is cron. So to understand cron, I will come here and say cron. So I will go to a website, which is cron tab guru. Cron tab guru simply will tell me what is a cron expression. So cron expression basically is used in all the Linux environments. The first thing denotes minute. The second thing denotes hour. Third denotes day. Fourth denotes month. Fifth denotes day of the week. So you can click on random and you can get many combinations. So it says every 5 minutes or in 00 hours. See, 00 hours, 5 minutes in 005 month. In the month of August, you run this job. Again, 14:15 means afternoon 2:15, first day of the month, you run this task. So these expressions will keep changing and you can read this and you will understand. 22:00 hours. Okay, 22:00 hours, 1 to 5 means from Monday to Friday, you run this job every day of the week. So like this, if you want, you can understand this cron expression. If I want to run a job every 5 minutes or every minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it says every minute you run the job. So now it is 7:34, 7:35, it will run again. So like this, I want to run every 5 minutes. So now it is saying 20:00 it will start, and then 20:05 it will again run. So like this, you can make your own cron expressions. There are some cron expressions which are easily available. So you can come here and say cron expression for Lambda AWS. So if you go to the documentation of AWS, from there you will find these expressions. So you have to just come and take these expressions like Monday to Friday, this 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. I don't want 6 p.m. I want 9 a.m. So I'll come here and paste it this, and this I will make it as 9. So what does it mean? Every Monday to Friday, every weekday at morning 9 a.m., this will automatically run. And you can come here and say add. So now I have kind of automated this process. Every Monday to Friday, morning 9, automatically this Lambda will get triggered. And if you want, you can add a destination. So basically you can add a, like on failure, you destination, you give an email ID. So on failure, if it has not started, it will drop your email and you can save it. As of now, it will give me an error because I don't have any SNS thing. I will configure and show you later, but this notification can be sent. So basically this is a very small scale automation. I want my servers to start morning 9 a.m. and this Lambda function will help me to do that. Similarly, I can also want to stop the servers at evening 5 or evening 5. So again, author from scratch, I will say stop EC2. I will use Python 3.9. I'll go here. I will get the code to stop this. This is the code from here. Again, change the execution role. Use existing role. Go ahead and give this custom Lambda role. Create a function. Can I use Lambda function to provision EC2 instances? Yes, you can do it, but Lambda is not the right thing to do it because the EC2 instances may take beyond 15 minutes. So we use CloudFormation for that. CloudFormation is a better way of working rather than doing it by Lambda. But in case you want to do it by Lambda, yes, you can do it. Where am I? So AP South 1. Okay, then that's it. I can deploy the changes. But after deploying, I'll just create a test event to test it. This is stop EC2. Create one, test it. The response is null and it says stopped your EC2 instances. Go here. I can see it is running. Refresh it. And you can see it is stopping, means it is going to work. Now what I need to do, I will come here and add the trigger. So add trigger, come here, say I want CloudWatch events, create a new rule, give any name, say rule 44. The description you can say stop EC2 instances. And again, you are asking for a schedule pattern. So you can come here and take it from here. So this time it is okay. So basically I'm saying every day in the 6, let me change it. 5 in the afternoon, in the evening, go ahead and stop it, add it. Now automatically it will stop. So if you come back to your functions, you can see you have written 2 functions. One is start EC2, another one is stop EC2. Start EC2 will run in the morning 9 and it will start those instances, and stop EC2 will stop those instances at evening 5. Okay. So like this small scale automations you can easily do with Lambda. The only 2 limitations which Lambda has is that the code cannot be more than 10 GB and the execution time cannot be more than 15 minutes. Yes, there are workarounds, but still we prefer not to go with workarounds. Avoid usage of Lambda whenever there is an activity which is going to take more than 15 minutes. Now there will be one task for you. I will want you that you have an instance. The instance will have something called volume. You will have to write a script, a Lambda function to take a backup of that. You can take reference from here. Just go to Google and say code by Amir. Just come here and say code by Amir and you say EBS. Okay, so you will come to a website called Code by Amir blog and you can go inside here. So it was written somewhere around in 2017. So it is explaining each and everything in detail. Okay, but because this code was written long back, the only problem is the console and all might have changed and it has been using Python 2.7, but now the code is being written in Python 3.9. So according to that, you have to make changes. Your code will fail at this place. Okay, just put these inside braces. Just check if this code is failing. And if this code is failing, put it inside these quotes like this, it will work. But still, I would like you to go ahead by step this entire thing. Try to understand what they're doing. They have explained it very clearly, okay? But still, I would like you to understand. Go ahead and see step by step what they are trying to do, how they are doing. It's a very good tutorial where they talk about that every day in the night around 11 o'clock, they are taking the snapshots. So whatever volumes they have, they take the snapshots of these volumes and they keep it for future purpose. Snapshots are incremental in nature. So if today the volume is 8.2 and tomorrow if it is 8.5, only that 300 extra, that storage will be backed up because 8.2 is already there. Okay. So this is about Lambda. Now Lambda, you will almost, I'm saying you will almost get everything. The only thing is you should know where to find out. So if you go to GitHub and you go to the official website of AWS Labs, not this. See here. So this is the official web, Amazon Web Services, GitHub, this thing. There are 672 repositories here. If you want to look for Lambda, most of the things you'll find it. There will be many people who are writing codes on Lambda. Many, see here. There are 89.k repositories, 51 million code, 2 million commits. So there are many people who write the code and put it on GitHub. The only thing is, based on your requirement, you need to go and find out what you are trying to do. If you search properly, definitely you will be able to find the code. So you need to know Python, but not everything in Python. You just need to know the basics of Python so that you can write a code. Moreover, when you write a code and you face an error, you can go to some online editor and check the syntax of the code. So the important thing here is that you should be able to find that code, whatever work items you have. Suppose somebody is telling you that copy something from S3 bucket to another S3 bucket using a Lambda. So you can write a function for that. You can figure out, it is there on internet. So there are many people who are available who are writing these codes and putting it there. Meanwhile, I'm deleting these two Lambda functions which I've written. So I can come here and say Lambda function to copy S3 to S3, S3 to EC2, S3 to EFS, S3 to EBC. So you will find a lot of things. There are many things. Okay. Only thing is you have to find it out on internet. If you are not very good in coding, at least you should be good in surfing the internet. You should be able to go and find it out. If you find it out, take the code, try to run it. If there are errors, sit and try to solve those errors. Okay, and this is how you will learn. So there is no shortcut, there is no mantra that, okay, these two scenarios will only be there. No, in my project, I will have 1 or 2 scenarios. I will cover that. But when you go for a real-time environment, real-time work, then they may ask you, can you write a Lambda for me, which will copy my database to my block, EBS block. So there you should go ahead and figure it out, how to work on this. So like this, if you just go, you will see many scripts available, but you should know where to find, what to find. If you find it smartly, most of the things you'll find it over internet. Something which you don't find, especially you need it for some project work, let me know. I will find it out for you, or I will sit and write the code for you. Okay. Now, summarizing everything what we did today. So we were talking about Lambda. We came to know Lambda is a serverless stuff. When I talk about serverless, I am not dealing with any servers. I'm not provisioning any servers. I'm not doing any auto scaling, any load balancing. All these things will be done automatically. Okay. The only thing is you need to write the code. Now, if you are not able to write the code, figure it out, try to see where the code is present and go ahead and copy paste the code. Once the code is done, IAM role should be there. That is very mandatory. IAM role should be there. Else you will get error of permission denied. Limitations are it cannot go beyond 15 minutes and 10 GB. Ideally, if you see that is more than what you need, because whenever you write a code, how much will it be? Like 100 MB, 200 MB, 10 GB is way big, but still it is a limitation. And you should know that it will not go beyond that. Okay. Now I will open it for questions. Anyone having any questions, please go ahead.
Is it chargeable, like while practicing?
No. Lambda is free of cost. There are 1,000 requests. So as per your, so anywhere when you have any problem, right, you have a question like whether it is chargeable or not, just go to this pricing.aws.amazon.com or just say pricing AWS. You can come here and check the pricing. It is very, 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 very cheap. You can do this, or you can go to your free tier account and there you can check. You will see it is almost free, like it is free only. So if you come to compute, in compute, you get 1 million requests, which is too much per month. 1 million per month. It is too much. You can easily work with this. These many requests are there. 3.2 million seconds. So it is free, no, nothing chargeable. Will real-time applications work in Lambda? Yes. Without EC2 instances or load balancing? Yes. Real-time applications will work with Lambda, but as I told you, Lambda has limitations. So most of the times we will not be using it for front-end applications, but back-end activities like backup, snapshots, starting the server, stopping the server. There are many use cases for Lambda. Okay, many use cases, but most of them are the background work, not the front-end work. Front-end work still we do with EC2 or other components. I'll teach you EBS, CloudFormation. So there are other components, but Lambda mostly for background work. Okay. Now I'll take a pause here and then we meet tomorrow again and we continue from there. See you then, guys.